So I did see that. Thank you very much. So yeah. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And last night we clocked in, or last time we were here clocked in at 8:05. Tonight I look and it's okay 7:53. So last night we were a little bit late, and this evening we're a little bit early. Either way, to God be the glory, because we're here. It's almost 8 o'clock, and that means that it's in time for another episode of Cue the Music. No, no music. Okay. Real talk with the Simpson families. You see, we got Gq Jordie with the good hair is back with us today. We're going to pick up on another segment of Basketball Diaries very quickly. I am Ian. I'm usually here with my wife, beautiful wife, Rachel. She's on Mental Health Day again today because we went in deep. She went in deep a couple days ago with, hey, Harry, God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. She did an episode of Real Talk on her own personal lived experience with domestic violence and overcoming anxiety and PTSD. If you haven't had a chance to see that episode, follow the link. You'll want to check that out. It's in the Real Talk archives, and it's very important stuff. And you'll enjoy it, if only because I don't have much to say. It is after, in fact, my wife's story and her journey. So if you check out the archives, you can find that. Once again, I am Ian. This is
Jordan.
Off. Big family life in the Simpson family home, and 4 F's with the Simpson family. The 4 F's represent faith, family, food, and fitness. Because faith, because we believe we can manifest, do all things through Him who loves us. Family, because there is nothing more important on this earth. Food, because food is fitness, food is medicine, and fitness because we believe that overall wellness can be achieved and maintained by pursuing a strong mind, soul, and body, hence the 4 F's. So we're just over here using our 4 F systems trying to manifest our best lives. So we're back tonight with another installment of Basketball Diaries. And when we left off yesterday, it was yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were in here yesterday. That's awesome. So how far we'd gotten in Jordan's basketball diary is that he was a grade 9, and he wasn't, he went from grade 9 to not playing at all, not playing in any games at all, to grade 10 now. There's an injury, and he is making the most of his opportunity to start. And so that's where we're going to pick up Basketball Diaries. Here's Gq Jordie with the good hair. It's your dime, son.
Words.
It's your story.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I did make the most of that opportunity, and I had a great game. I can't remember who that game was against. I think it was a close game, though. I think we played Vincent Massey, who was pretty much, I'd say, they're our rival, hey?
Yeah, that's a big rival.
Yeah. So we won that game. I'm fairly certain we won that game. We played a very good grade 10 year. We ended up getting to Final Four in provincials.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since that first game where I didn't start, I started ever since, and just the feeling of being on the court when the game started, I don't know, it was different.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, for me personally, I was fortunate in that when I played high school ball, I went to a school where, it wasn't a very big basketball school. It was in the 70s, I think, 70s and 80s. Gordon Bell had some really terrific athletes that played basketball there. However, when I was there, it wasn't all that popular. So enrollment or attendance or tryouts, even if you would, was way down. So, a lot of us just made the team by default. So, I think that if I'd have had to grind it out or earn a spot on the roster, that would probably been better for my own personal journey. But I always felt that if you had to, I never had to come off the bench. I always felt that's such a tough position to be in, because it's like you got to come in cold. You don't get a chance to warm up to the game. You don't get a chance to do nothing. You get in. Usually you come in off the bench, and you come in cold. You're nervous, and your first screw up, you're right back on the bench.
That did happen, but after that, if you do end up getting back in the game after the first substitution, you're in your groove, I think. But grade 10 and grade 11, I didn't come off the court much. Like I came off the court at the end of quarters and at the end of halftime. So thinking of it now, I guess I did have pretty good conditioning. I would get tired, of course, but I don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess I didn't really get tired because I didn't do much on offense. I just passed the ball. I really just played defense. So, and defense, I think, is a little less tiring than offense. Offense, you gotta.
You see, and right there in a nutshell is wrong. Was wrong with your generation.
No, defense is different because you're not always guarding the ball.
Defense is definitely more tiring.
Less tiring.
Less tiring than being on.
Yeah.
Okay, because you see, however, offense, you don't always have the ball in your hand.
Yeah, but on defense, you say you know how the saying goes. It goes rest on defense.
No, rest on offense.
No, you've told me that.
No, rest on offense. You don't rest. I would tell you to rest on defense on occasion because I mean. I don't know. No, I don't believe I've ever told you that. My philosophy is always that you rest on offense. The thing is with defensive basketball is that on the defensive end of the floor, there's always something for you to do. You know what I mean? You're rotating, you're helping, you're this. When on offense, if you don't have the ball in your hand, if you're not the screener, and if you're not, well, I mean, there's times when, for instance, let's look at the NBA. That's the show, right? James Harden standing at half court because he's just not involved in the play. That's the biggest knock against him because he's not involved in the play on this particular series. He's just going to stand there and not even be a decoy, right? So you rest on defense. And if I said that, I must have been senile, and I apologize. You rest on offense, You don't rest on defense because defensively, you always have to be engaged. You turn your head, and then the guy backdoors you, and that's an easy bucket. Yeah, rest on offense, son. But go
on. I was kind of done with my point. I wasn't going anywhere with it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So was grade 10. So now that's grade 10 basketball. And we went from Coach Paulo in grade 11. Hey, Eric, God bless you, man. Thanks for stopping in. We went from Coach Paulo in grade 9, getting no minutes. Coach Cisse in grade 10, you had an opportunity, and then you ran with it. And, I mean, that was grade 9 to 10. We great, man. We just really reliving Jordan's basketball diaries here from the point when he was benched in grade 9, as I said, to get the most of an opportunity to start in grade 10. And we haven't made it to grade 11 yet. And we were in Coach Paulo in grade 9, which, Coach Paulo is cool. He's a knowledgeable guy. I didn't like the fact that every game that I went there, he'd be waving at me and they had my kids sitting on the bench. However, he was cool. And as I said, is that it wasn't his fault that Jordan didn't play. He wasn't engaged. He'd be sitting on the bench with his buddies and they'd be talking it up and having a good time and oblivious to what was going on the court. So, that was just. And then grade 10, you had Coach Cisse, and he was...
And Coach Tynes. Yeah, both.
Yeah, but Coach Tynes was never there for whatever reason. He wasn't there a lot.
Grade 10?
Yeah, he wasn't there a lot. He was there from time to time. No. He was there at practices initially, and then maybe that's when his father passed, or someone important to him had passed. He wasn't there very much, and he did come back from time to time, but it was less than 50% of the time. Would you agree with that, Mom?
Yeah.
It was less than 50% of the time. Oh. Yeah. And then when he showed up, you guys traditionally struggled. Because you were working with Coach Cisse the whole time, and then he'd show up and he'd want to, do things, and it was just a conflict. It was like no continuity. Got to be ready when your number is called. That's a fact, Eric. And we talked about that. When he said he was coming off the bench. My personal opinion was that you coming off the bench is not easy. It's not for everybody because it takes a special kind of player. I'm thinking like, for instance, Vinnie Johnson for the old Bad Boy Pistons, right? This guy was instant offense. This guy would come off the bench. He would practically get out of bed and drop 30. You get out of bed, coach said, get on the court, and he'd drop 30, and then, or in the middle of dropping 30, then coach would pull him, and he'd go back to sleep, and then he'd get back. Yeah, it takes a special breed to be able to come off the bench and be ready to go instantly. Me, I always needed that extra little bit of time to get into a game. Like when you're playing pickup game at the Y, for instance, I always loved playing that first game, because that first game usually went to 11, and every game after that is 7 points. And so that first game, you get that extra 4 points to warm up and get into the game. All right, Vinny the Microwave. Yeah, Detroit Bad Boys. You know what's up, Eric. Trisha, hey Trisha, God bless you. Thank you for. Is that Coach Paulo that was a Sergeant? Facts. Yeah, Coach Paulo from Sergeant Park. He's at Sisler now. He's over at Sisler now, and he's been there for a few years now.
Yeah, since he first got there when I was in grade 9, so yeah.
And he did, and believe it or not, I was excited when he got there because, I mean, I honestly felt that the only good coach that Sisler had was Bernard. You know, Noah had an opportunity to play for Bernard, and that year Noah went off. Like, I mean, yeah, Noah had a great year. That was grade 9 year, I think. That was his grade 9 year. Grade 9 or 10. No, grade 10. He had an opportunity to play for Bernard. I can't remember his last name.
I'm not sure who that is. Yeah.
No, you don't. He is now in the Triumph program. He's working with Darren over at Triumph. Yeah, so there was that. So then you go from grade 10. So now nothing really eventful happened in grade 10 other than me being like completely freaked out in the stand, be like, hey man, you need to shoot the ball. You need to at least square up and at least look at the basket, because you never know, there might be a guy wide open standing underneath. Right? So now we get through grade 10. Where we at?
We are now in grade 11.
Okay.
And see if I can remember the first game of grade 11. Oh yeah, I can. The first games of grade 11.
Bernard is African, yes.
Was the West Kildonan
tournament. Well, he's black
tournament.
anyways. Excuse me. West Kildonan, is that with that the kid that we ended up playing ball with? Was it that school? What, that tournament?
Kid that we
Do
ended.
you remember when we played WSSC?
Yeah.
We made that team.
That little black kid?
No, the tall Aboriginal kid.
No.
You know who I'm talking about? Caden, that's it.
Yeah.
Caden.
No. We never played him.
But that's where he went to school.
He was East Kildonan, I thought.
No, he went to West Kildonan.
Oh,
they had that nice gym all the way down Main Street there, right?
The one with you had the court and then there was a lot of space to the side.
Bernard is a fantastic guy. Yeah. You played volleyball there.
Yeah, okay, not
West
that
Kildonan.
gym, then the East Kildonan then.
Okay, EK was the
our
first
yeah.
tournament. I remember. I remember
KE,
when Tyler didn't like the call, so he was rolling around on the ground laughing at the refs.
Was that?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, and the first game of the season, so it has to go from me like barely scoring in grade 10, 'cause I barely shot the ball, to the first game I had I think I had around 15, maybe higher.
Okay.
So not bad. I hit a couple threes. I got a couple of layups. I got a couple of putback on a rebound, and just a lot more confidence out there. And that was a great tournament for me. Except for the second game, I got rib stumped on a dunk.
Okay.
But that was my fault because I got the ball at the top of the key, and I didn't even dribble. I just took 2 steps and tried to dunk.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Like at the 3-point line.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with it, because I mean, you're gonna miss every dunk you don't attempt.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
So
you started the season great.
Oh yeah, that was a great tournament for me. Us as a team, actually, we.
Oh yeah, I remember you guys won like 3rd or something that tournament, didn't you?
Did we get? No, we got 2nd.
Okay.
I think we
that
lost to
was the eventual
Sturgeon
winners.
Heights.
Yeah.
In the finals, I think.
Yeah, or something like this. Yeah, and I never know. You know what? This is gonna sound terrible. This is gonna sound terrible, man. And there's just no nice way to say this. However, I just didn't understand how you guys, as an athlete, I didn't understand how you guys didn't feel no kind of way losing. No, I don't, baby. Thank you. Losing to Sturgeon Heights. I didn't. No, you can't. I didn't understand how you guys didn't feel no kind of way losing to these guys, because these guys were well coached, to be sure. However, they were not very athletic. They were not very big. They were not very fast. They were not very anything. But you guys, they consistently beat you. And I go sit down, please. And I was like, and I remember it was just so frustrating every time you guys, because I would be like, I would tell them, Eric, I'd be like, listen, man, you guys, I mean, you lose games. I mean, go fight them or something, man, because you're going to lose the basketball. At least go fight them or something. Do something, man, because there's no reason. You guys should feel bad. I mean, I grew up in a different era. I mean, I didn't mean like we went out and fought guys, However, we went out and the game was a battle. I mean, it was a battle within the game. Like, I mean, we didn't shake hands with each other. We didn't jawbone each other. We didn't, this whole camaraderie and thing, that kind of stuff that go on in the game today. There was nothing like that for us. You know what I mean? Competition was everything. Competition was fierce. I mean, before the game, no. The day before the game, And the day after the game, we could be friends. You know, we were homies and stuff. The day before the game, the day after the game, we could be homies, we could be friends and everything else. But game day, we wasn't friends. We wasn't friends. We was, we was out there trying to mortally wound or kill each other. You know, that's just what competition was for us. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, for me it was more
Friendly.
like no, not friendly. Not during the game at least, but if like in the warm-ups, you team split into half court. Every time we played against Vincent Massey, I'd see Elijah. I'd go see what's up.
Facts.
And and that's just the way it was. But during the game, you gotta have it's competitive. So I wasn't being buddy with him. He wasn't being buddy with me, and we just understood that's just how it was. And but yeah, what was that? Oh yeah, I think we lost to Sturgeon Heights, but I think we ended up playing in a third place game that we just smacked the other team.
You just smacked the other team. Wasn't that team that team wasn't very good.
Yeah,
to be quite honest, and you guys just smashed them. However, Sturgeon is, and no disrespect to Tacky and what he's doing over there. To be quite honest with you, if I had an opportunity to let you go play for them, I would love to have you play for him. They just don't have any dogs over there. No, they have dogs. They don't have any elite level athletes as far and basketball players. In my observation.
So they had that guard. Every time we got into the paint, I would block him. And then they had that shooter. His name was Kobe or something.
The dude with the goggles.
Yeah.
I don't know how you gonna lose to a dude with goggles, man. Hey, CJ, God bless you.
Two guys with goggles.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's like my generation. That's like losing to Kurt Rambis. And I mean,
he was a pretty good guard.
Kurt Rambis?
No. Like this guy. No, this guy from Sturgeon.
Kurt Rambis played on a great team. He played with the Lakers in the 80s when they were winning championships. And he was a terrific power forward, as tough as nails. However, he was not the cornerstone of the team. And he was not the cornerstone. He could not be the cornerstone of any team. He was just a complementary piece that fit, a cog that fit and helped the engine to go. You know what I mean? And I felt that Sturgeon was a team of cogs.
Definitely, yeah. They had a good team chemistry. They had a good coach. They ran good plays.
And they were dogs. They would grind. They would do everything Coach Tacky asked them to do. They were extensions of his self. However, no, I couldn't. I wouldn't be okay losing to that team. Yeah, that's just me. No disrespect to what Coach Tacky is over there doing. Eric says, I remember some of these guys you talking about. I used to scorekeep the high school games at UW. So, I mean, the Winnipeg basketball community is very close-knit, and Tacky is a guy that came out of the program out of U of W. If I remember correctly, he was a starting guard and very successful there for a number of years. You know what I mean? Again, great guy, great coach. But let me say this. Right? In order to have success in the city as a coach, as a man of color, right? You need to be a certain type of person. Now, Bernard and Tacky are two examples that I just used, right? And both of these guys are guys that I have huge respect for, right? And Bernard, I have huge love for. I know him personally, right? It's very surprising to me, actually, but that he's able to have as much success as he does. But he's in a different situation. I think he's coaching for a program, and so he's not, but he's good success. He's been able to he's had success at Sisler, and then now he's doing it at the club level. And then there's Tacky, who is, smaller guy, very happy-go-lucky, very unassuming, very unintimidating, very, great guy. And then there's me, who is loud, proud, and, when something is unjust, I'm going to let you know. Hey, Jimmy, God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to let you know. And the thing is that generally speaking, I got in trouble because, my reputation what's fair to say is that I didn't like to see, no, not like, I hated to see that the things that I had to endure as a child, I now had to watch my children endure them, right? The injustice, if you would, the suspect calls, right? And for this guy, it wasn't as bad, but for Noah, whoa, yeah, go.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad for me at all. Hey, I didn't notice anything. But yeah. Okay, so after that KE tournament, I think we just had a few regular. We started off we started off the grade 10 season very slow. I remember with the Westman Classic, but that's past. We only won one game of that, so I was, yeah. But we after that game, the next thing I remember for grade 11 was that Oak Park tournament that year? Or was that grade 10? No, that was grade 10 too. What happened in grade 11?
I mean, grade 11 was tough for me as a parent.
I remember a lot of regular season games. We can talk about those, but I just want to talk about tournaments, really. We had a Miles Mack tournament. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a good tournament. We played our first game. Who's our first game against? Steinbach, I believe. I think we just wiped them. And then our second game was against Dakota.
Okay.
Was it? Do you remember that tournament? No,
I don't recall. I do remember the tournament. I don't remember the order of games teams played and so on and so forth, but I do remember the tournament. Notice Grizzly, Glizzy, pardon me. Keep up the good work, Jordan. You're in good hands. There you go. There you go. God bless. Thanks for stopping in. So let's talk.
That's what I thought.
You're in good hands.
That's what I thought.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Man. Appreciate that. God bless. I appreciate the confidence or the vote of confidence. Let's talk. So grade 11 ball was uneventful.
Yeah, I only really remember the Vincent Massey tournament. That was cities.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. Cities. We can talk about cities. We played our first game against Kelvin, and we beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had Massey.
We went 1-2 against Kelvin. We beat them in cities, but we lost to them 2 times prior. I'm pretty sure, right?
You had them once in the DMCI tournament, and then once at Kelvin as well, I believe.
Yeah, no, we didn't play them, but we played them for third place for cities at Tegvok. Okay. I can't remember who we played our first game, but we probably just wiped them.
Second game you played.
We played Vincent Massey.
A game in their home gym.
Yeah, in their home gym. And before the game, we noticed that on the tournament bracket, they wrote Vincent Massey to win our game before it even happened.
Yeah, they had already looked over you.
Must have been a student or something. I would imagine it couldn't.
But they had the 7-footer.
Yeah, that guy. He was like 6'8", but he couldn't. He doesn't really know how to play basketball.
No, he was a project. He was just big. He's big. He'd be fine by now. I would imagine that he's had a whole year to learn a drop step and a bunch of different things. And I remember that game vividly. Vincent, they couldn't hit a shot to save their life.
Yeah, we went. Was that the game that we almost beat him by 40? Was that?
No, that was the previous game. That was the previous. I think that was the end of the previous season. You guys, they were the number 1 team of the season. Your last game of the season,
grade 10, we beat them by 40.
Your last game of the season, you beat the number 1 team in the season in the league by you put a 40 spot on.
Yeah.
I've forgotten about that. You put it so that's to set up this cities now. That's to set up this city. So the last game of the previous season, they put a 40 spot on. Right, they were there. They had a bunch of guys. They were the number 1 team. They had a bunch of guys that worked real well together. And again, they overlooked these guys and they put 40 on them. And so they had that bad taste in their mouth. And now here we go. Next following year, did you guys play before cities again that year, grade 11?
Did we play that?
I don't recall you playing.
We did, but we had a bunch of guys that were missing. I didn't play. I couldn't remember what was wrong with me. I think I was sick, or I had an injury, because I remember I didn't even suit up.
Okay.
Yeah, I had an injury. But yeah, we beat them by 2 points or 3 points, I think, in cities, and that was a game that I didn't have a good game. I don't think personally. I didn't do much on offense. I had some missed opportunities, but as a team, we just came together.
You guys were horrible. You guys were horrible. I remember they had multiple opportunities to score on second and third and fourth shot opportunities, and they must have shot as a team in the 20s as a team. Yeah, because they would shoot. And they would get the offensive rebound and shoot and miss and get the rebound and shoot and miss and get the rebound. And by about the fourth opportunity, you guys would decide to rebound and go the other way. And then, I remember the game vividly.
Was that the grade 12? They put in the grade 12s to take all the shots?
Yeah. And so what they were running a zone. They were running, Sisler was running a zone. And Sisler was running a 1-3-1 because Coach Tony loves that. Tyler, excuse me. He loves that zone. And a 1-3-1 is fine. There's nothing wrong with a 1-3-1. It can work. It just don't make sense that you have your best on-the-ball defender, your starting point guard, running the baseline on the 1-3-1. And his job was to run from baseline to baseline, challenging threes in opposite corners of the court. And then he had to box out the 7-footer. So if you're wondering why they got so many multiple opportunities, it's because they had a 5-foot, what was Marcus at the time?
Probably 5'10".
At most.
Yeah.
5'10" guard. Running the baseline on the 1-3-1, trying to box out a kid who's 6'8". Meanwhile, he had bigs on the bench that could do that job, but his coaching's philosophy was just different. It was a very frustrating year for me as a parent. And then to make this particular game even worse, what was happening was they were running, Sisler was running a zone buster, or zone, a 1-3-1, as I said. And, they had, Vincent Massey had scouted them, and they knew that, it's basic. I mean, elementary stuff, man. Elementary is zone buster offense. If the ball goes into the high post, or to the top of the key, the low post flashes into the key and they dump it down. If the ball goes into the low post, entry post into the low post, that they run high-low post, zone buster offense. If the ball goes into the low post, entry post, he squares up and has a look, and the big is from the top of the key is flashing down. These guys were getting murked by it. They were getting absolutely murked by this, the most mundane and basic zone busting offensive play ever. Eric said, I seen a 6'9", 15-year-old during the night. Yeah. I seen this kid. I was walking over in Superstore a couple summers back. I seen this kid had to be 6'8" if he was an inch. He was 14 years old, from the African continent. And I mean, me being me, I'm like, you play ball, dog? He like, yeah, I play ball. I'm like, where? He like, oh, prep school. I'm like, word. All right, go on about your business. I'm like, you know Noah? You go, yeah, I know Noah. That's my kid. I'm like, oh, okay.
Really?
Like, oh, yeah.
What was his name?
I don't recall. This is years ago.
Oh, okay.
So now during the course of this game, I'm watching this unfold, and I'm like, and the coach doesn't know how to combat this zone buster offense. Now, I have a personal relationship with all the guys on his team because, I mean, most of them, because of Noah, I've coached over the years, known them over the years, going to games, blah, blah, blah. We did at WSSC, put a team together. So I have a perfect working relationship with most of the guys on his team. So I was comfortable just communicating with them. Okay, all right, your coach ain't giving you this information. Let me give it to you. So I told CJ, I said, hey, man, the ball go up, big down on the block, gun flat. Just get your hands up, block up, just plug up the key. Essentially, just plug up the key. The ball goes to the low post, be aware that the flash is coming down. The ball goes to the high post, be aware the flash is coming across. Just plug up the key. Right? And then I told him that, and then Vincent couldn't score after that because they couldn't get that flash, that easy bucket flash into the key. And they're not a very high percentage shooting team. So they struggled after that.
They had that one Filipino that he was.
He could come off the bench and he was a lights out shooter and he liked shooting from half court.
Yeah, but he wasn't hitting any shots that game.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And so there was that. And I'm not even going to get into the negativity that came out of that game. I don't even want to put my energy there. It's like, it's just more nonsense about, growing up black in Winnipeg and just, what white supremacy looks like in basketball Manitoba. And that's a real thing, man. Like, basketball Manitoba is not a friend to the black and brown man. It is what it is. Go.
and then the city finals come around, and we play St. Paul's, and I'm still struggling to remember. Was this the grade 11 year?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I remember because remember the big dude there, the player that they had on the other team there. He had a chest on him, man. Big guy, right? He played. I guess he must have played football was his other sport. Had a chest on him.
No, that wasn't grade 11. I'm talking about grade 10 then. Yeah.
No, that was grade 11 because
that
was grade 11 because this is the year you were. And I remember we talked in the beginning of the year, and I'm like, oh, that guy's coming back, right? That's your senior year, and you were like, nah, he was a senior last year. I'm like, oh, that's too bad.
No, I'm saying I'm talking about grade 10. Yeah.
The game that you're talking about is grade 10?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
When we played Vincent Massey and then we beat them, and then we played St. Paul's. They had those two Filipinos kids, and we lost that game. A game that we were supposed to win.
That's grade 10 because you beat the number 1 team by 40. Yeah. You beat Vincent Massey, and then you went and you guys lost to St. Paul. I recall.
Yeah.
I remember. That's the end of grade 10. But.
Yeah,
we're moving on to grade 11.
I thought it was in grade 11. I don't know why my memory is super shaky. I can't even remember grade 11 cities. Did we play in cities?
You see, and that's what trauma will do. Straight fact. I'm not even joking, because one of the biggest problems that I had with Tyler, aside from his shame-based approach to coaching, was that he couldn't figure out on his own that my son didn't like to be touched. He would, and CJ as well. These guys just don't like to be touched. So, you'd see them on sidelines and, timeouts and so on and so forth. And he'd have his arm draped around my son's shoulders, and, my son would literally be pulling away. And you know what I mean? And you could just, it was just awkward to watch. And so it just got to the point, I'm like, dog, listen, man. He doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't like when you're in his space like that, right? And he was just not a respecter of persons because he just didn't honor that. So there's a good chance that a lot of that year didn't register for you because you were just in survival mode, because you were like, the whole time he's talking to you, you're like freaking out, oh, get out of my personal space, get out of my personal space. Mm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was you and CJ. You know?
You want to know why...
Eric says, I recall these games you're talking about. I probably oh, boy. Here we go.
You want to know why I can't remember cities for grade 11? Because I thought it was provincials that I'm thinking of. But we didn't have a provincials for grade 11 because of COVID.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of cities.
It got shut down early?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of cities now.
Okay.
In cities, we played Kelvin in the third place game, and we lost that game at Tech Voc. You must remember that game, right?
No.
No? Wow. Yeah. But we started the game. I think we ended the first quarter winning, and then we ended the half either tied or really close. But the second half, the third quarter in particular, we came out the locker room and I don't even know what happened. We just went down like 10 points all of a sudden, and in the fourth quarter, we started to claw our way back and we got within 2 or 3 point game. And we just got called for this bunk foul. They hit the free throws, and that was that. But I remember that game because I had like 20-something that game, I remember. Mm-hmm. So that was a good game for me. Mm-hmm. But if you don't remember, I guess you can't talk on it, hey?
I can't. I don't remember that game. Mm-hmm. I don't. And a lot of what, a lot of those games, I was not in a good place because, my own personal level of frustration was just through the roof. Because I couldn't understand. Like, for instance, you say you come out in that third quarter, and I don't have to remember that specific game to recall instances like that, where, you come out, you guys are vibing, everything is going well, and the coach is engaged, and then all of a sudden things start to go south a little bit, and the coach doesn't know what to do. And because the coach doesn't know what to do, you guys don't know what to do. And then a game that you were at square level in at halftime, just because in a 3-minute span of game time, right, all of a sudden you're down 20. And it happened on multiple occasions under Coach Tyler. Mm. When things were going well, he's a great coach. When things are going well, no, he's not a great coach. However, he's
coaching
better when things are going well. than when things are going poorly. Because when things are going poorly, I think he has anxiety because he literally stand there and he'll bite his nails, and you can see that he's just so tense and he doesn't know what to do, and he knows he should do something and he wants to do something. I remember one time you guys got a shot clock violation, and what had happened was that you guys typically didn't get shot clock violations because I didn't allow it, because I'd be sitting on the sideline and I'd be like, da, 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 da. However, he had gotten under my skin in particular that day, and so I allowed the shot clock violation. You got the horn sounded, and the ref said shot clock, and he looked across the gymnasium, and he looked right dead at me like it was my fault they got the shot clock violation. And I'm like, what, you the coach? What? I'm just a
that
parent.
might have been a Vincent Massey.
Yeah, I'm like, what? You the coach? Yeah, that was Vincent Massey. I'm like, you the coach? You the coach? That's your job. You know? Eric says, did Jordan or Noah ever play in the tournament right before the Westman Classic? What is that? What tournament would that have been?
In grade 10, my first games of the season was the Westman Classic, so not me personally.
No, what if you can tell us what tournament that was? Which one it was? Is that the before the Westman? What came before the Wit? Oh, it's been so long. Noah, can you call Big Noah Big Noah, please?
Do you know where he is?
He's downstairs.
I thought I saw him go.
Oh no, he might be in Jasmine's room. That's true. Yeah, we can get a confirmation on that right now. Big Noah is in fact here. We just got Gq Jordie with the good hair on the mic, but Big Noah is just around the corner.
You're in class? Dad wanted to talk to you about that. They have a question for you. Yeah. They're ready.
I got dead air here to feel like what is the holdup?
He was in class. He's in class.
Oh, he's in class?
Yeah, he's coming though.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric want to know if you ever played in the tournament before the Wit, right before the Westman Classic.
Before the Westman Classic?
Yeah.
What tournament?
High school. He want to know. I don't know. He doesn't recall what tournament because he used to scorekeep a lot of these games as well. And then he was saying that there's a tournament every year right before the Westman Classic.
Where, at the Duckworth?
What gym was it at? Can you do what?
The Westman Classic?
That's when I'm recalling these high school games from. Yeah, right before the Westman Classic.
The Westman Classic is usually like
The first tournament of the year.
yeah.
But there's always smaller
the
tournaments.
KE, the KE
Oh.
one is the first for us.
The KE one, Noah was saying the KE tournament was the first tournament of the year for them usually. So maybe it was a situation where it was because, like, I mean, with Noah, some of the tournaments that they went to, like for instance, which you guys were going to the RIT
Yeah.
when other guys were going to,
Lit.
yeah, like Coach Martin. It was at Duckworth, he said.
Oh.
Eric says that tournament was at Duckworth, in fact.
We was only ever remember going to the Westman Classic.
Yeah, he said maybe it was one of the tournaments that Coach Martin didn't sign them up for because, like, I mean, they didn't go to all the tournaments. I mean, I couldn't. Crosby Arlington, they went to that tournament for a number of years because that was a favorite of Coach Martin's. But however, from a basketball perspective, from a player development perspective, it was a trash tournament. It made no sense, you know. However, where are we, Jordan, in your own personal journey? Sorry, Eric, I didn't get an answer for you. The only thing I could say is that it wasn't all. They didn't play in all the main tournaments for whatever reason. They were very selective about which tournaments they played in.
So yeah, our grade 11 year got cut short. We didn't do provincials because of COVID, and after that it was just straight up the grind. We started working out at home. Started going to Stanley a lot more, played ball there. We went across the city a couple times, and just balling out everywhere any chance we had. And here we are now, right?
I mean, we got a little. Let's talk about WSSC and that experience because
Okay.
I mean, what happened was that once he identified that he wanted to play ball. I asked him, I said, so, okay, your grade 11 year, your choices are I could either go and try to build a team for you, like I did for your brother, or I'll find a suitable position for you to, situation for you to play in. Right? You right, you sure not. My bad, you're not a baby. My bad. And so he said that, he would like an opportunity for me to try to build a team for him to play on, and then I could coach it. So we got in with this club team called WSSC, here in the city, and that was such an interesting experience. I don't know if you know Kofi, Eric. Kofi was actually a guy who I worked with a number of years ago when he first came to the city. I was doing basketball. Nice. Hi, Teresa. God bless you. See, that is God, and I got Teresa here, and I mean Teresa, like her daughters. I mean, were two. And this is one thing we don't talk about is that Winnipeg is a hotbed for women's basketball. There are a ton of terrific female athletes that came out of Winnipeg playing basketball. And if we want to go all the way back to my era when I was in high school, and Teresa, you might remember the Kellys and Marjorie Kelly. Teresa said she's a basketball mom, and I know Santisha, and help me out, please. I've heard of Kofi. We'll go back there in a second there, Eric. I'll be right back with you. Jordan planning on playing university or college ball. We plan on doing some road tripping this summer to see if we can facilitate that. Sierra in Atlanta and Scintilla in Kingston, as in Kingston, Jamaica? Really? Kingston? Sierra, my apologies. I got that. Yeah, and of course, I mean you're Winnipeg royalty as well. So of course you know the Kellys. And Marjorie was Ontario. Okay, Kingston, Ontario. Thank you for that. And Marjorie was the younger sister of Janice, right? And Janice played volleyball. Brian was into kickboxing. The brothers didn't play a lot of sports. However, they were all jacked. They were into staying fit and healthy. And Brian was like I think Brian was either the second or oldest brother, and he was a Western Canadian kickboxing champion. He owns a dojo and operates a dojo here now in the city for MMA and so on and so forth. Good night. Thank you. And Marjorie, Janice, as I said, played volleyball. Marjorie played basketball. So, I mean, even all the way back then, and you're going back now, that's 30 years. And then Marjorie would have been before Sierra and Scintilla. And then after Sierra and Scintilla would have been Noah's friends, the twins. What are their names again, Noah? Hey? Kia and Kiana, they went to Regina. I think they're back at U of M now, and so on and so forth. Like, I mean, so it's like Winnipeg is done very well as far as women's basketball. There are a lot of terrific female athletes that I know personally that came out of Kia and Kiana. Yeah, facts. And I'm sure you can probably tell me a couple more because I've since moved away from the whole basketball scene here in Manitoba. So yeah, back to Kofi. He was. And he's a guy that when he first came to the city, like when Noah was still that age, when Noah was just young and playing on, what would that have been, Noah? What's the Winnipeg Minor Basketball Association, right? And Kofi came to the city from Montreal, and he started up a little train. So I brought him into my program. I was running a program back then with NOAA, MOD, the Ministry of Defense, right? And I brought him in just to train my kids. And he wasn't really doing anything outside of training at the time. He didn't have any teams that he was coaching. He wasn't affiliated with any team. He was just training athletes. And so I brought him in and told him, I says, okay, don't trouble my parents. I'll pay you for your services, and so on and so forth. And I mean, it was weird because he didn't have no team, but he went ahead and signed a couple of my kids and put them into his program, pulled them out of mine. And we were playing games. We weren't training. And then he just went, whatever. So I developed a distrust for the guy because he's not on the level. But then he inquired. He called up a few years later. He contacted Noah to inquire about this guy. He heard that he'd put on some size. And so I was like, my initial reaction was like, no, he's dishonest. I'm not going to work with this guy. And then Noah was like, yeah, except that, let's think about what's best for Jordan. And I was like, okay. So it just so happened that he was already affiliated with the club he was the best friend of the owner of the club, right? WSSC. And he was training a couple kids out of there and so on and so forth. And, he had a good thing going. And then, and this is outside of basketball that happened with WSSC. But I mean, I don't know if you guys heard, what was that, a couple years ago now? There was a great, huge drug bust. And Kofi and the owner of WSSC were caught up in this. And I'm like, yo, I'm texting these guys trying. I can't get a hold of nobody. I think the other guy was the other owner was another dude, and these guys aren't. And I'm like, hey man, yeah, I'm done. I can't be anywhere near this. You know, I cannot be even. I can't even. I can't be anywhere near this. I says that knowing my past history with and run-ins with the law and so on and so forth. And this was now, what year would this have been? This would have been 2 years ago now. So this is 2000. We're 21. So this is 2019. So I'm 2 years. I only got out in 2017, and I'm turning my life around. And yeah, I'm like, nah, I can't be involved in this in any way, shape, or form. So we we walked away.
We dipset.
We dipset. We straight up just, hey. And I feel bad because them kids was left hanging. And I told them straight up. I told them kids, I'm like, hey guys, I'm sorry.
We were starting to build a good squad too.
And they were starting to get it. They were starting to come around. They were starting to understand the work ethic involved and everything else. And I mean, I was just like, guys, I'm sorry. I cannot be associated with this. I cannot have this. I cannot have them thinking that anyhow this is associated with me in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? I have a record. I can't. You know what I mean? And not only that, where I was going as a person on my own personal healing journey, I want to know part of that. I mean, what you out here doing? Come on now, you out here selling drugs, and in your spare time, you coaching kids basketball? What you doing? What are you doing? No. I want to know part of it. So yeah, we did. However, I want to talk about success. I want to talk about success.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can talk about him. He's a year younger than me, I believe, right? And,
you guys were all 15. He was 14, so he was younger.
Yeah, and he came in and he was already better than all our guards.
We brought him in, so success was, where'd he come from?
He came from crossover.
And why did we bring him in?
They had 20 players on their roster.
25, actually.
25?
25 players on their roster. And how many did we have?
12?
What? No, we had 7.
7?
Hey, Josh, what's up, player?
Damn, we did.
How you do? We had 7 players.
Yeah.
We didn't even have enough players to heard of his troubles. Kofi. We didn't even have 7 players, and that was tough because when we had 7 players and we didn't have 10, I thought that 10. I always as a coach, I like to have 12 players. I like 12, no more than 12. I like 12 because I could. That means that I can scrimmage and practice with subs. You know. Thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate you. That's my homie there. That's his brand. Hard Rock Jarvis. That's his label. So yeah, I like 12 because then you can scrimmage, you can run drills, you can scrimmage, and you still have a couple subs. Mm-hmm. Josh, actually, I should shout out. Of course, I'm gonna give Josh. Josh is one of my guys. Josh used to play with Noah back in the day. That's how we know Josh. Josh used to play with Noah back in the day, so he's one of our guys, you know. And so what we talking on?
Yeah, Cisse.
Cisse, go.
Yeah, and so he came on that roster. We got in a couple practices with him. He was a black guy, so he immediately he hung out with me, CJ.
Yeah, you guys clicked.
Yeah.
And he lived in the same area as CJ too.
They
had an existing relationship, so it fit.
Yeah.
What had happened was Noah was the one. Noah was at Keanu at the time, and at this particular one, this showcase, it happened. Noah was home for Christmas. I think it was Christmas. He was home for something, anyways. And so he came to a game, and he's like, "Dang, you guys only have 7 players. How do you do that?" I'm like, "Well, this is what we got. This is what we got to work with." Mm-hmm. He goes, and then he sees the team that we're playing against. It's crossover, and that's what's his name there? I don't remember. But a crossover team, and the rules clearly state that each team is not supposed to have more than 12 players. But here he is in the gym with 25 players, and I don't understand why he didn't just register 2 teams. That would have been best for the kids. However, when you register 2 teams, you register that's 2 entry fees, and that's cutting into his profit margin, right? And so he got 25, and then what he would do, he'd have them come through, and he platoon subs 5 at a time. He played 5 minutes, 3 minutes, he platoon sub. And so Noah saw this, and he saw one of his homies over there, 6A. And so he went and talked to 6A after the game. He's like, "Hey man, how's it going for you over here?" He's like, "Man, I'm not enjoying this. This is not a good experience for me. And it's like you go to practice and it's just a free for all. And I mean, even if I'm trying to do something, because there's no organization, there's no supervision, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, he got on the court in that game too, and he was giving us points.
He was giving you guys some work.
Yeah.
And then he had to sit and so he wasn't happy. And so Noah suggested to him,
a lot of points. They only ended up with,
they got worked.
Yeah.
Noah suggested to him, he said that, well, why don't you come on over to WSSC? They need players. And Noah put that bug in his ear, and then he went and told his coach, and then and then he made the switch. Now, I feel like the player-coach relationship has to be mutually beneficial. Okay, as a player, you play for a coach. There's expectations, and if you're not getting those expectations met, you're not like. I mean, he wasn't having what he needed. He wasn't having his cup filled up.
If there was a minimum playing time, he was not getting it.
None of them were.
None of them. Yeah.
None of them were. How do you manage minutes with 25 athletes, right? And I mean, yeah. And you play them all. In college, you can do that. In the NBA, you can do that because you don't play more than in the NBA. Sometimes you only play 8 players. In college, you might play, I don't know. Eric, help me out there.
10 players.
Yeah, right. So, but how do you find playing time, equal playing time for 25 players, and why would you want to do that? At any rate, he made the switch, and we came over, and it came to light that his coach wasn't happy about it, and so I contacted the coach personally because I mean I wasn't trying to be that guy, and I mean I tried to explain to him like it's not a good situation for Success and so on and so forth. And his coach come back to me and he said to me that, oh well, Success is under contract with me for a year. And he can't play for you. And I said, well, contract? What contract? This is a 14-year-old kid. This is Winnipeg club basketball. What you mean contract? What contract could this kid possibly be under?
No, and do you remember he actually came and had a conversation with you prior to?
I do. So because the next game, right? Actually, thank you, baby. That happened before this conversation because the next game that we played happened to be against them again, right? So now I don't know this guy. I don't know that. I've never met him before. Who is it? Ricardo Martinez, baby.
Yeah,
that's his name.
Ricardo Martinez. I've never met this guy, right? This guy walks up to me. And as a coach, and start up conversation, he started talking about this guy, right? And then he started talking about a trade that he'd be willing to let Success go, because this is before he and I had that phone conversation, and he was like, Success had told him that he's wanting to go and make the switch, and now he talking about, oh, we'll make a trade. I'll trade you Success, and we'll take your son Jordan. And then my hairs went up on the back of my neck because I'm like, how you know my son? And now all of a sudden he talking about Noah, he talking about Jordan, and he's talking about my Justice. And I'm like, I don't know you from a hole in the ground. How you know my kids? And then it came out. What had come out is that my ex worked for him. So she was conspiring. She found out that I made a team for Jordan. And so she was conspiring to break up the team and get Jordan off the team to get Jordan to play for him. And so had I been willing to make that trade, had I been willing to trade my own son to pick up Success, would have been fine, and we would have never had any of that. But I laughed at him and I walked away. And then he went up to Success, who was suited up for us that game. He walked up to him on the court, right up to him, took out his cell phone like this, took a picture of him, and walked away. If that was an intimidation tactic, I don't know. Then he took that picture and he sent it to Sean Close, who's the owner of the gym, owner of the thing, whatever, the league, Peg City. Sean Close, he runs it. And Sean took that now to mean that this kid was supposed to be playing for that guy, but now he's playing for me. And I have a personal relationship with Sean, which isn't great, so that factored into it. But I went to Sean and I'm like, dog. And I have the text messages. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Because Sean says that me and Noah now were tampering with athletes. And I'm like, dog, what are we talking about here? Tampering with athletes. This is a 14-year-old kid. This is Winnipeg. This is not the NCAA. Right? These athletes are not under contract. You want to act like the permission that slip that they signed to play is a contract, and this is the fallout from Alex Barrera, Mayhem Basketball, and I know exactly because I checked my memory log. I don't forget. Everybody forgets, but I don't forget. About 20 years ago, this is what happened. Alex Barrera had a kid, right, that was playing for his Mayhem program. The kid left his program, but Alex was a guy that did have his kids sign contracts. But that was different because Alex was way ahead of the game. And Alex was doing Mayhem basketball before there was even a platform for that type of club basketball in the city, right? He was running elite level basketball before anybody else decided to do it, right? So good on you. Good on him, right? And so he actually had his athletes sign contracts. So when a kid left his team to go to another team, he didn't hold the athlete back like Ricardo said that I'd rather see him sit for the year than play for you. Great coaching, Ricardo. But Alex said that, yeah, you can go to another team. You just can't play in the championship games against us because you, in fact, did sign a contract in front of your parents. And it was all on the up and up because he had his parents sign contracts, his athletes sign contracts, and it was all on the up and up, right? So then what had happened was this kid, great player, he left Alex's squad. Alex was like, okay, fine, I wish you the best, best of luck, good luck. And he went to another squad, and then those two teams met in the playoffs. And that's good coaching because, I mean, he's advocating for his athletes. He didn't try to hold the other kid back and force him to. It was just like, hey, man, he can't play this game because he was under contract with our club when this year. That's a legal issue. That is legal and binding. That's good GMing, right? But when you take a kid that's now just signed a permission slip to play and you say that's the contract, right? And then when I take a closer look at crossover basketball and I see why would he have 25 athletes on one team? Then I take a closer look and I realize that Sports Manitoba will pay $350 per athlete, no questions asked, and then you think that that was the 15-year-old team, 25 athletes on the 15-year-old boys team, how many athletes on the 15-year-old girls team, how many athletes on the 10, how many teams, how many age divisions, and so on and so forth. And 25 athletes times 300, that's a nice $5,000. Times however many teams, times boys and girls, time. Straight hustle. Straight hustle. And then telling these kids that they under contract and that he would rather see them sit for the entire year than to switch teams when the coaching relationship is broken down. So we know what he's getting out of it. He's getting a good athlete. He's getting all that money. What are kids getting out of it? Well, they get a place, I guess, to go hang out after school and just kind of run around and throw a ball and I guess it keeps them off the street, I guess. And I guess that's okay for some athletes, but for an elite level athlete that Success was trying to be, he said straight up, I mean, I'd come and try to work at practice, but there was no direction. There was no leadership. And we tried to offer that to him. And Ricardo, but at the end of the day, the kid left his team and he came and he was playing with us and he was practicing with us. And then Sean got involved. And I said to Sean, how can this guy come up? How can you allow these guys to come up and bully this child? He straight up bullied the child and intimidated the child in public, right? And walked up, took his cell phone, took a picture of the kid, and then circulated that picture. Sent that picture at least to Sean, right? Don't know who else I mean, come on, man. I'm like, Sean, what are you doing out here, man? Protect these kids. And then I showed him, that's crazy, I've heard these stories, but the full breakthrough is mine. Yeah, that's the half. And I showed him where he had done the exact same thing with another child on another team the year before. I had the emails. And this is where Wedlake got into it because Sean, for whatever reason, was away the year before. He wasn't involved. And this is what Sean said, well, I wasn't involved in that decision-making process. So, they did that last year. Yeah, but they were wrong to do that. So, but you passed precedent. You did it last year. You kind of got to do it this year. And they didn't. They let the kid sit out. He didn't play. So Success couldn't play for the rest of the year. And if he would have played, and, we and a game, their games, we're playing with 5 players. Right? And they wouldn't let the kid play. And again, they did it the year before.
And when we tried to play against Attack, they shut the game down. It didn't count for anything. So what happened was we went into that game with Cisse and we tried playing, right? You remember that game? And they were like, no, you guys take the loss. You remember that? And
I had forgotten that.
They gave us the choice. We can either play or we can leave right now.
Mm-hmm. So we played.
No, yeah, but what was so crazy about that? I was like, yeah, I'm going to play. It's a game, who doesn't want to go play a basketball game, right? No, but it didn't even... Our team wasn't even trying to play. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, let's play. You guys trying to play? And they were like, no, not really. I'm tired. I want to go home. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow.
Well, because the game didn't mean anything. It was a meaningless game. We had to forfeit because, what they put me in a position, they says that you either forfeit the game or you can play, but your guy can't play. And he sat there with tears in his eyes. And he said, "Sorry, coach, I wasn't trying to hurt the team." And what you talking about? What you talking about? We ride and die, man. We ride and die as a team together, man. No, I said, no, we ain't playing this game. Yeah, we got to take the L. That's fine. That's fine. He's one of us. We're not gonna roll on him like that, sell him out like that. Heck no. Right? We got to wrap real quick. We're gonna lose the gram right away. So we'll do another installment of Basketball Diaries. Jordan up in here with his Basketball Diaries, telling his own story, and we'll wrap up right there. God bless. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll pick this up again the next time we do this. Appreciate y'all.
Peace out.
All right, Jordan, you got 10 seconds.
Peace out, y'all.